As we light our chalice lighting words, come, let us gather in this sacred space, where imagination is a soil rich with possibility. Let us plant seeds of wonder, water them with curiosity, and tend them with community. May our minds open, our hearts awaken, and together, may we nurture visions that grow beyond today. Come, let us imagine anew. Just this past Friday, after helping a beautiful couple plan for an upcoming celebration of their commitment to each other, and then attending the Authentic Selves book discussion hosted by our welcoming congregations team, I was reminded of one of the first couples I had the honor of marrying when I began my journey towards ministry. This couple had been high school sweethearts. Once their souls came together, they just kind of knew that they fit, and they were like puzzle pieces that went perfectly together. But unfortunately, one of their parents didn't like how those puzzle pieces fit together. They, in their minds and their imaginations, didn't have a picture of their daughter falling in love with another girl. So, this family decided to sell their home and move their daughter out of that school and out of Seattle and over to the other side of the state. And they enrolled her in conversion therapy. And these two young people who had found this other person that sort of felt like it made them more complete were ripped apart and spent years and years and years wondering about the other, writing notes that they didn't have anywhere to send, and just wishing things had been different. And time went on, and those wounds probably had maybe started to heal a little bit, but certainly never completely. And a decade later, they bumped into each other at something. And they embraced, and they didn't want to let each other go, and they couldn't believe they had found each other again, now as adults, now with the ability to chart their own path and decide who they get to be in love with or not. And so they started dating again. And when I had met them, they had decided to become married, and they asked me to wed them. And it was a beautiful story, and I could tell how happy these two folks were together. They just really did honestly seem to complete each other. And so we went through the ceremony, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful day. There was joy in everyone's hearts. And after the ceremony, I'm walking around, and I bumped into one of them. And as I walked up to her, she just started to break down and cry. And I said, Jenna, what's the matter? We just did this beautiful thing. Like your vision has come to life. And she said, I never imagined in my wildest dreams that this day could ever happen. So I said, that's okay. Thousands of your ancestors and thousands of your current siblings were able to allow themselves to imagine it. And they never let go of that dream until finally they were able to help you make it a reality. Take a look around the room. Everything you see, every human-made thing you can touch at one time did not even exist as a concept. The first step in the creation of anything is a vision. Many times that vision can be tracked back thousands of years. Like, think about it. Some primitive human sitting in a cave on a cold rock was tired of having a stiff back and sore knees. So they rolled a big log into their cave, ultimately inventing the very first church pew. The first built structure with a roof, indoor plumbing, the automobiles you likely use to get yourself here today. At one point, none of these things we take completely for granted in our lives existed. They first needed to exist as a picture in someone's mind. In addition to the physical things all around us, there are thousands of things that are simply concepts that didn't exist until someone, or more likely, a group of someones, imagined them into existence. The idea that people could be in charge of their own futures. The idea that all people are created equal. The idea that people should be able to love whomever they love. The idea that humans might need to consider the impact of their actions on our planet. All ideas that didn't exist until one day someone had a vision for a new way of being, and then a group of people perhaps began to imagine that a new way was possible. And then that individual or that group of people found a way to bring that dream to life. This is both the potential and sometimes the peril of the power that we have been granted as humans. The power to imagine a future state different than the current state is perhaps not completely unique to our species, but we have certainly amplified this capacity far beyond the achievement of crows or octopi or any other creatures that seem to be evolving the skills that we have developed to manipulate our environments to be the way we want them to be. How has this ability manifested itself in your own life? What have you imagined and then worked to bring to life? Did you pick a major, make your way through college, and embark upon a career aligned with the interests and talents that you felt inside? Did you fall in love with someone, imagine a life together, and then find a way to bring that dream to life? Have you ever imagined an adventure that seemed outlandish until you stopped where you were, looked around, and realized that you were actually living in the middle of a dream that you had imagined long ago? Are there any dreams still inside you, just begging to be materialized into existence? Today's sermon is about the first step required to manifest change in the world, the power to simply imagine a future that doesn't currently exist. There are really, I think, only two pieces of this process. The first is the imagining, and the second is manifesting how to bring those visions you have to life. 2 weeks from now, after Mother's Day next week, we're going to focus on the second part of that equation. But here this week, we're going to start small. We're going to start with just a dot on the paper. We're going to talk about the components that need to be in place for that first step. The act of being willing to imagine itself. Because although it can sometimes be simple to try to imagine something, there are actually a lot of things that need to be in place for our imaginations to truly thrive. And there are many, many forces, as today's reading reminds us, that attempt to place boundaries on our imaginations. Sometimes boundaries can be good. As Tony's art teacher knew, sometimes it's important to learn the techniques and follow the rules until you get the basics down before you start to go off and try to flourish. They can sometimes keep us safe. They can sometimes help us from wasting time on ideas that really need a good bit more work before they are ready to be brought to life. But oftentimes, the boundaries our imaginations bump into would be good to simply be erased. And that's what we're focused on here today. Some folks, like Tony's natural artistic ability, some folks seem to be natural imaginers. Our friend John Angus, hi John, sorry to call you out on this one, is one of those folks. John has been a longtime visitor here, and almost since he's arrived, he's been bringing us idea after idea after idea for consideration. A historical reenactment of the fall of Prohibition highlighting a local craft brewer. An idea to transform our grounds into an adventure zone for kids to explore. The event that he hosted 2 weeks ago where he rented our building and invited a philosopher to come and help us expand our thinking, complete with food and music and dance. Not all of us are as visionary as John, but all of us have within us some capacity to imagine a world different than the one that currently exists. But that ability can be expanded. And if there are things that you see that don't seem quite right to you, learning how to imagine a new way or a different way is the first step needed if anything is ever to change. What are your current dreams? In my experience, there are two components that need to be in place to truly allow our imaginations to work their magic. The first is simply time and space. Our imaginations need room to breathe. So many folks in this congregation have come up to me with some version of, I wish we could focus more on spirituality here. Now, I know there are many in this room for whom anything that sounds like spirit or soul work or anything in that vein just feels like woo-woo. But I have to disagree. Yes, we need to understand how reality works. Yes, we are called by this faith to focus on solution to real-world challenges and to try to do the work that we can to create a more just society for all. But to think that we can do that absent of feeding the spirit inside of us that implores us to overcome what is, I think misses a really big part of the equation. Because as we're going to talk about in 2 weeks, bringing a dream to life often requires a great deal of hard work and sacrifice and partnership and oftentimes even risk. And it takes spirits that are sufficiently cared for, sufficiently nurtured, to be able to overcome the resistance that will inevitably face us in our quest to bring these dreams to life. Nurturing our spirits is not woo-woo. It's actually a crucial step that needs to be cultivated if we are to have any chance of drawing our dreams out from the depths of our hearts. Our imaginations need both invitation and wide open space. The world we have created demands almost constant attention, though. 24/7 news cycles, never-ending to-do lists, internalized expectations from our well-intentioned parents and society as a whole. These are the creators of boundaries. That sense of angst you feel, that sense, even when everything seems to be going well in your life, that sense that there is just something missing, that is likely the stifled whisper of a dream held captive inside your mind, just hoping for the chance to one day emerge. It takes space. It takes intention. It takes the nurturing of our soil to allow the seeds of ideas to germinate and take root. Setting aside time for nothing other than simply quiet reflection. Coming to church on Sunday can be a part of that practice. You have this appointment on your calendar each Sunday morning to step out of the busyness of your lives and just sit together with others. I see many folks here at different times in the service simply closing their eyes for moments of reflection. Maybe it happens during that short moment we invite exactly that. But just as often, it happens when the hymns are being sung, or the readings are being read, or maybe even in the moments before the service begins. Each time I see one of you out there with your eyes closed, I know that you are attending to your soul. And that is a beautiful thing. Some of you have a meditation practice. Same thing. You set time aside consistently to allow that chaos in your mind to settle. And that is the process that tells your imagination that it is finally safe to come out and play. Anytime we are not focused on doing or consuming creates the potential for our minds to play. How many of us have had the most startling insights emerge while we're mindlessly just spinning around in the shower? I know that's where most of my good sermons come from. Spending time in nature is another place that seems to invite our imaginations to play. Away from the distractions of family and chores and news and social media, time outside with the sun warming our cheeks and the birds chirping, allowing the natural beauty of the world to flood our sense of the reminder of connection to all. This is a place where our imagination can also be encouraged to emerge. We have to allow ourselves the time to take this space. Rather than frivolous daydreaming, allowing ourselves to spend time away from time is crucial to allowing our soul's longings to emerge. Do you do this? Do you allow yourself time and space to simply play? What would it take to allow yourself even more time? Yeah. Will you make that commitment to yourself today? You take that challenge? Take more time to play. I know the world's on fire. It'll still be on fire tomorrow. Go out and have fun this afternoon after you do all the work at church, after Tracy's thing. Once that space has been created, the harder part of this work actually begins. The part where we allow ourselves to grab the eraser and begin to remove the boundary lines which try to tell our spirits why the visions that begin to emerge in our psyche can't actually be brought to life. I think these blocks can be broken down into two categories: I can't or it can't. The first of these, I can't, takes a lot of practice to overcome. If you've never brought something you've imagined to life, your ego will offer all kinds of excuses as to why you can't do something. This mechanism is actually designed to protect you. But if allowed to manage the ship unobserved, it can actually leave your entire life stuck in a self-created safe harbor that tells you it is keeping you safe, but is actually blocking you from seeing the world while your hull is slowly rusting from the outside in. We are made to live, to point our sails towards open waters, and to live life fully. Yeah, but I'm too old. I'm too clumsy to dance. Never done that before. It might not be safe. This is the big one. People might judge me. I might fail. In my experience, the only way to overcome these types of blocks is to begin small. Pick something easy you know you've always wanted to do but have always hesitated to try. The example I use is actually a big one, but bear with me. Find a song in your range. Practice singing it in the shower until you think it sounds okay. And then go to a karaoke night in a place where no one knows you and gather the courage to get up on that stage and belt out your masterpiece. No one expects you at karaoke to be any good. That's not the point. It's really not. The point, in my mind, is the practice. You have a fear, you gather up your courage, and you overcome it. Your spirit doesn't care how you sound. Your spirit will have been given evidence that you have the capacity to overcome your fear of failure or embarrassment to bring a dream to life. The next time will be 100 times easier, and the next time even easier than that. But most importantly, you will have begun to prove to yourself that you can face your fears and actually walk away from the experience unscathed. I have never seen somebody chased out of a karaoke bar with like pitchforks and fire. People clap, they whether you're good or not, and they're appreciative that you gave it a try. Maybe the next time it's a bigger risk. Each success gives you confidence to imagine even more possibilities. A UU church like this one, to me, at its best, is a playground of possibilities. If you've been here for a long time, I can almost guarantee that what exists here today around us is because you and others had some ideas, and you found a way to bring those ideas to life. And along the way, I'm willing to bet you expanded the concept of what you thought was possible, and likely made a lot of good friends along the way. If you are newer here, I encourage you, be willing to take some risks. Expand yourself beyond what you think is possible. This month in the social hall, you'll see that the leadership team is inviting you to imagine how you might contribute your unique talents to help bring the collective visions of this community to life. It's okay to start small. Volunteer to help out making coffee, or act as a greeter. Just hand out the things and smile when they walk in the room. Manage the soundboard on Sunday morning. We've got a great group of people that do this and a great set of teachers that can help you learn all the skills you need. Do you have a vision of perhaps a more engaging and transformational Sunday morning experience? Everybody has an opinion about that. I know you do. So carve out 2 hours a month to join the worship team and help us bring your vision to life. This is how we make life, which can often be difficult and even heartbreaking, as beautiful and as awe-inspiring as it also has the potential to be. Create space in your life for those dreams you've kept hidden away to be allowed to emerge. Challenge yourself to take some small risks to prove to yourself that you can actually bring the things in your head to life. This, I think, is the key to honoring what is very best about ourselves as humans. And it is this process, amplified over and over again through individuals and communities, that turns what was once unimaginable into a moment that can bring us to tears, like when a love that seemed unthinkable was actually brought to life between two young women that were finally able to heed the call of their souls. What do you imagine? And how can we help you bring that imagination to life? Don't be afraid to dream really big. We need your dreams now more than ever. May it be so. Our closing words come to us from the Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson. Hush. Somebody's calling your name. Can you hear it? Calling you to a past not quite forgotten, calling us to a future not fully imagined. Hush, hush. Somebody is calling our name. What shall we do? All right, y'all. Y'all are in luck this morning. There are limitless possibilities of how you can bring your talents and imaginations to life. In the social hall, you'll see all kinds of opportunities that you can imagine or talk about and sign up for. We've got that parade meeting coming up. Imagine the biggest, I want this community to make the Rose Parade look like nothing. I want everybody in this community that is at that parade to know who we are, what we stand for, and how much fun you can have at this place. And then afterwards, if you're concerned about the things that are going on in the room, join Tracy's Resistance meeting, and you can learn the skills to how to bring those things to life. And I could not let this day go without this. May the 4th be with you.